Hi, I'm Hazel Dains,
Hi, I'm Tamara Lindsay, or TT Lindsay.
and we're gonna chat about Christmas and what we think about Christmas. So we're gonna go back and forth and ask each other some questions. So I'm gonna go first. So Tamara, what do you think about Christmas? Like, what comes to mind when you think about Christmas?
Well, the first thing comes to mind is I was raised on a ranch. So my, I have lots of memories of Christmas. We would go out and get a Christmas tree every year. And we would alternate between a pine tree and a cedar tree because pine trees were my dad's favorite and cedar trees were my mom's favorite. Plus the cedar smelled really good, you know?
Yeah.
And so we would go out and we would like either walk up. We lived right next to a mountain in a valley. And so we would walk up the valley and find a tree, or we would drive way up into the mountains and find a good tree. And that seems like it would be a good memory. But the reason why I remember those things is because I was always cold. So I was like a little 5-year-old, like trailing along behind. But that was fun. And let me see, I was thinking. So to be honest, I'm a little bit ambivalent about Christmas because it is about family, and you know how families are. There are wonderful things about family, like, you know, having kids around and stuff is so great, but then there are parts about family that are just really challenging. And so, to be honest, Christmas is wonderful, and you know there are parts that are not so wonderful. How about you?
Um, yeah, I could share in that sentiment. I think that for me right now, Christmas is fun and exciting because I have small children. So my focus is on how they see Christmas and how I want them to see Christmas. And it's easier to ignore the adult squabbling when you have little children that you're like, well, they're happy, so we should all be happy, right?
Oh, you
Um,
can see the world through their eyes, and it's so amazing.
yeah, exactly. So let's see. When I think of Christmas, I think of fireplaces and something hot to drink.
Yes.
I pretty much just like anything hot to drink. Like I like tea, I
You.
like coffee, I like hot chocolate, I like apple cider. Like you
How
make me
about
think of
mulled cider?
anything at all. I will
Yeah.
I will have it. And I like baking. So I think about like spending at least one day of baking at least. And then yeah, like it's all about food and decorating and I like Christmas carols. So like yeah, I'm a very Christmassy person. But yeah.
Very nice, very nice. I have a sister who loved Christmas, and her house, in fact, she would keep her Christmas tree up all year round. And her her house always looked like Christmas just threw up all over it, which
Yeah,
is wonderful.
that's what someone used to say. We when we were young, we had roommates in our house to help pay the mortgage.
Mhm.
And one of the roommates said that I threw up Christmas all over the place. Yeah,
Yes.
I tend to do that. But okay, so
Excellent. Okay. Next question. Tell me about one or two of your family Christmas traditions.
so I remember when I was a kid, we used to do the Santa Claus parade. Okay, like most towns have a Santa Claus parade, I would think. I don't know if that can't be just a Canadian thing.
No, oh no.
So, but I remember we lived like it had to be an hour away from wherever the parade was. Maybe it wasn't, but it seemed like really far as a kid, right? Like, and I
Yeah.
remember it didn't really matter. We were okay with that because it was just exciting. Like my dad would pull us in a sleigh and we'd have all our snow gear on, and it was like an entire day of like being out and getting candy, getting hot chocolate or whatever. Um, and then my town also they do it's called the Festival of Northern Lights, but it's not quite as like exciting as actual Northern Lights or anything.
Uh,
But there's like this big river that runs through my town, and they set up these lit up like characters, like snowmen and
Ooh.
reindeer, like, and it's just all over the city. So you just go through this like path of lit up, and it's great for kids. Adults, you're like, I don't know. but but the kids like love it. It's like it's a thing. You have to do it with your kids at
Yeah.
least once. I think we took Zach like 4 times last winter or something. So I remember doing that and it was really fun.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. We would always, so in our family, Santa would come on Christmas Eve, not Christmas Day. We would go, the ranch was my family and my uncle's family who were partners on the ranch. And so we would go up to their house for an hour and exchange gifts and do that sort of thing. And then we would come back to our house. And by the time we got back to our house, Santa would have come. And it was so exciting because all the gifts would be there. And then we would open our gifts. And it's very exciting. My husband's family, however, does not opens presents on Christmas morning. And so we sort of compromised between the two of us. We open the smaller gifts, all the gifts around the tree on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas morning, Santa has come with usually a big gift, and then the stocking is always stuffed with candy and small gifts and things like that. So those traditions are great. The tradition that I really love now that I'm an adult and in this job, I get 2 weeks off for Christmas, and I don't usually take a long time off from work, but that 2 weeks, I get a whole bunch of writing done. It is
Yes.
so great. And
Yeah.
that's kind of my own personal tradition.
Yeah. The time off at Christmas time, my husband gets at least 2 weeks because he works in the trade. So like they just give him 2 full weeks off and it's great. Like,
Yes.
oh,
Yes.
yeah, it's wonderful. Okay, so what is your favorite thing to cook or bake at Christmas time?
Oh my gosh. I love to cook. I cook all year. I mean, I just love to cook. I always feel bad for people who have to cook, who don't like to cook, because it's a creative outlet for me.
Mhm.
I remember one year, my daughter, I have twins and they're both 15, obviously. And my daughter got me a cookbook of Italian pasta, and it's an Italian chef out of Italy who make all these, it's called Shapes and Sauces. It's a great book. But anyway, that year we had some bluegrass in the freezer. And so I made homemade linguine that turned out absolutely just, kind of toothy and a little bit,
Yes.
a little bit firm. It was really nice. And then I made bluegrass ragu that cooked all day on the stove, and it was very
Mhm.
rich and warm. And so it was, that's one of the things I love about Christmas is not only do we do the Christmas dinner, which is always the same every year. We do turkey for American Thanksgiving, and then we do roast beef for Christmas, and then we have the same dishes every year. But then surrounding that, in the 2 weeks around that, I just basically go crazy and cook all kinds of things. So how about you? What is your favorite cooking?
Um, I it's kind of hard to decide because I like you, I like cooking.
Yeah.
So it's not just a Christmas thing to cook. Like that's my husband and I both are foodies. We like our food. Um,
Yay.
so something I learned to cook last year was a medieval pie, like an actual, like a medieval
With
meat pie.
cinnamon and
Yeah, and
cloves and stuff.
so it's like I've done mincemeat pies before, and I personally like them, but some other people don't. So I'm like, is it worth it? I don't know. But so this pie was savory, and it's like this thick. And so I don't even remember how I made the crust, but it was like some odd way that I've never done. And then yeah, you stuff it with like bits of meat and like cinnamon and nutmeg and like sage and like these combinations that we don't use very much anymore. And I thought it was like amazing. but I love meat pies. Like I could
Ah,
just eat meat pies like all the time. Or soups. Like
yeah.
I love a good soup. Like
Mhm.
I think this year we're gonna make it's called this like French beef stew. I don't know what it actually is called, but
Is
that's what
it
I
beef
call it.
bourguignon? I
Probably,
love beef bourguignon.
but it's got like red wine and
Yes.
balsamic vinegar, and that's like that's like the key to the taste, and it's so good. It's just like, oh,
Oh, yes. We have a recipe that we use for that. But we often make it with elk if we get an elk. Um, so is there any, I have to follow up on that. Is there any like weird dishes that just your family makes?
um, that's a good question. I mean, I think I've come up with a few weird ones. Weird as in they're known, but people don't generally make them. Like Yorkshire pudding. I love making Yorkshire
Oh,
pudding, and people don't make that anymore. Like
that's true.
uh so I started making that last year. I think I went into this English like cooking binge or something. I don't know.
Ah,
Um,
yeah,
so I like am addicted to Yorkshire pudding now. I need to make it like all the time.
yeah.
Um, and what else what do we make? We used to make sushi when we
I
didn't have
love making
children,
sushi.
but yeah, children don't really eat sushi. So we're like, no.
We have we have a recipe. You remember those 60s recipes that you could get that often involved Jello that you could get out of magazines or off the
Oh
sides of
yeah.
cans? I think this is where the recipe came from, but it's shrimp salad and it is just peculiar to our family. And it is nothing more than iceberg lettuce chopped up, a can or two of canned shrimp, those little shrimp,
Mhm.
and Miracle Whip. That's all it is. And it
Wow.
sounds weird, but it's like a family tradition. And then in my partner's family, he uh, one of the brothers-in-law had this recipe for Malone beans, and it was like this
Mm.
secret family recipe that went way back, you know. And it was funny because when my sister-in-law and he were first married, he was talking about this great recipe, you know, and how this wonderful thing, and you know, it's got green beans and cream of mushroom soup and like these deep fried onions, and and she was like, everybody has that. That's green bean casserole.
That's funny.
So we always have Malone beans as well.
Uh, yeah. Um,
I don't remember whose turn it is.
I can just go. Okay, so can you tell the viewers about a gift that you got for your kids in the past that you were excited for them to open it?
Well, you know, what jumps to mind is actually not a Christmas gift. So I'll first I'll talk about. So one Christmas I got my kids when they were about 5 or 6. I got her this huge dollhouse that was like all these things. Santa, sorry,
Yeah.
Santa got Santa got this huge dollhouse with all these different things, and you know, very expensive, and got my son a dragon castle that had, it was like a Lego dragon castle, which
Oh.
very expensive once again, but it had all these pieces and dragons and stuff, and left it out, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. And they never played with either of them. They were like, they
Oh
kind of looked at
man.
them like. So I was excited about that one. But the present that they really liked was when they got a little older, before they had cell phones. I got them those knockoff iPods. They're not actually iPods, but they're just, you know, the cheap version. And I went and I got a whole bunch of songs, and it was so fun to go and find those songs. Like, I don't remember if you ever saw the album called Goofy Greats, that are all the silly songs in the 60s, like Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini,
Ah,
and all those kinds of really George of the Jungle, all those silly songs. So put those on there, plus some contemporary songs and stuff like that. And I loved it, and they loved it. They were going on a trip at that time, and they just, the whole time they listened to it there and back, and it was a good present for both of us. How about you? What do you?
um, well, there hasn't been too many years yet as a parent where my son understands Christmas. I think last year was really the first time. It's the last year he was 3. And even then it was like, I think you get some presents. But I don't think you get much else about this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think like this year is the exciting, like he totally knows what's happening and why, um and he's learning how to get other people presents and not just, think about himself and his presents. So he loves dinosaurs. He's like into dinosaurs right now.
Mm.
So yeah, so it's really cute. So we got him a dinosaur Lego set, which you
Oh my
combine the two things. And so I mean, how could he not like that? I don't
gosh.
know. And then we got her, she's not even two. There's these tiny little like mouse doll things. And then you can get like a cottage for them. So like throughout the family, we're all getting like these accessories to create like a little mouse land for her. And it's gonna be like
Aw,
completely adorable because she just loves like anything that's an animal is a kitty.
yes.
So she'll just call it a kitty and meow, 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 meow. It'll just like it'll
I
be
just love it because it gives you an
uh,
excuse as a parent to go relive your childhood. You know, you're like,
yeah.
that is so cool. And if they don't like it, you're like, but
What
it's so
happened?
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel slightly lost with the girls still, where I'm like, I know exactly what the boy
Yeah.
wants and likes, and I'm just like she tells me what she likes, but I don't know still. She's just a little baby, really. Like
Well,
so
and I had the same problem too. Just I don't know why it was easier to buy boys' toys than it was girls' toys. But now my daughter is an artist and she loves art stuff, so it's easy to buy for her now because you just get anything art related and she just loves it. So
yeah, that helps. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
When they get older and you can see like what they
Yeah.
really like instead of just they like stuffed animals because every child likes stuffed
Yeah,
animals.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
All right. All right. So if you were going to tell a short story about Christmas in space, what would it be? Give us a snapshot of the plot, characters, time frame, etc.
ooh, that's a big question. So I actually did write one.
You did? Oh, so
I
are we
did.
telling the full story or are we just giving a teaser?
I think definitely a teaser because then I mean you have to read it, right?
Yes. Yes. Tell them
Um,
about why Christmas stories in space. Tell us what we're doing.
Well, okay, so we thought of something fun in like a contest form where we can get some stories from other people and not just be writing them ourselves, right? So we're participating, but we also thought like we're both authors, both love writing. What would Christmas in space look like? Like, and that's not really something that's touched upon a lot. So we thought, let's go there and figure out some stories and hear from other people. So yeah, the contest, I think it's almost closing, but um, be sure to send us your submissions if you have any Christmas in space stories.
Absolutely.
What's yours? Let's start with you,
Oh,
Tamara.
oh, oh, okay. Well, I was, first of all, I was thinking of the Christmas truce of 1914, but I didn't want to write. I was like, oh gosh, I don't know if I don't write military sci-fi and to begin with. And second of all, I don't know if I could, I mean, I could write a story like that, but I didn't know if I was emotionally prepared for it. And then I came up with another idea, which I'm glad I don't have to tell the ending because I always tear up when I start telling the ending. I was telling my daughter the ending of this story this morning. So it's called Starlight Barking. And it's about a little boy who lives on a space station. Um, so it's 150 years in the future, 2163. And the rich people now live on Earth. They've preserved vast parts of Earth for nature and all that kind of stuff. So we have, places to grow things. And so the poor people live in space. And so around the International Space Station, it's grown into a huge city that sort of encompassed the whole planet, but on the edges are the poor people. And so they live in these ramshackle habs that are sort of loosely connected. So you can fly in spacesuits between them, or they have little rickety walkways that you can sort of pull yourself along to get to the different habs. And so the little boy is named Sho, and he wants more than anything a puppy for Christmas. And his family, he's got a big rambling family as well that lives in this hab, and they are junkers. So they go around and they collect space junk, and that's how they make their living. And so he wants to be a biologist when he grows up, and in the meantime, he wants a puppy. And so he does everything he can to try and get a puppy. He talks to his dad, and his dad says, ask your mom. And then he talks to his mom, and his mom says, ask Santa. Put it on your Christmas list. And he talks to his grandpa, and his grandpa says, you should start your own business and save up the money so you can buy a puppy. And so he goes around to all his family members, and Christmas is getting closer, and they're doing all the Christmas things. And then you have to find out whether he gets a puppy or not.
That's cute. That's a cute story.
All right. What about you?
Mine is called Christmas Invasion.
Ooh.
So, and I mean, okay, let me just tease this in a way that literally I just sat here, like 1 minute I have no idea at all for a story, and then the next minute I'm just like, okay, so like that's how it came to me. It wasn't very detailed in my head. So there's this boy who is a preteen, I'm thinking like 13 to 15, something like that. And he's an orphan, and he lives in his parents' house on some sort of moon, which is an unidentified moon of some kind somewhere. So he's not on Earth anyway. So he actually doesn't know anything about Christmas. Like he's it's so far in the future and so far gone from like Earth culture that they don't know what it is anymore. So they're at the beginning, it's not a thing. So but of course it is around Christmas time. And the colony is in a state of evacuation because they're imminently going to be invaded by some sort of alien race. So the boy is in line to get on a spaceship, but then last minute he decides that he doesn't want to. He's just going to go and live in his parents' house, and he'll just have to, like, he is an orphan, and he's thinking it doesn't really matter to me if I am invaded. Like he doesn't have a family. He'd rather just stay in his house where his mom was. So it's kind of sad, but it's also kind of brave. So he goes back to his house, and in a couple days, the colony people are all gone, and then the invaders come. But there's a twist. So
are you going to tell us the twist?
Maybe I shouldn't tell you the twist, because I mean, like at this point in what I'm telling you, it doesn't sound like a Christmas story, but it will. It's just that you had to read the ending.
There you go. Excellent. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It sounds like Island of the Blue Dolphins. Have you ever read Island of the Blue Dolphins? Oh my gosh. It's about a little girl who's abandoned on an island in that way. They come and pick up the people who live there, and she decides to stay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's quite similar. I've never read it.
Yeah, no. But I mean, it's a totally different story, but it's a really good one. Just like yours is, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. And I think something I love about writing is that like I can come up with it, and then it's interpretable. So like you don't know if the author meant something in the writing or if they were just having fun. Right?
Yeah. So yeah. And you can do allusions to things, and sometimes they're on purpose, and sometimes they're just in the back of your mind and you don't realize that they're allusions to something.
Exactly. And it's like, there's complexity to writing, and I like that.
Yeah, for sure. I like creating worlds and aliens. When you were talking about your aliens, I know it probably involves the ending, so I don't want you to tell me, but I was like, aliens, who are the aliens? Tell me about the aliens.
Well, the aliens play a huge part in the twist. So
okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah. This is fun. We should do this again.
We should. And remember that you've got some upcoming events coming up.
Yes.
For your book.
For the book, which is so exciting. I can't wait. I can't wait for us to show it to everybody, and I also can't wait for your upcoming book as well.
Yes, I do have a book coming up, but mine's gonna take a while, I think.
Oh, yeah,
Definitely a while. But see, patience is a virtue.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And to write a novel, you have to have patience.
You have